Imagine reading an article that perfectly solves a specific problem you've been having at work.
Okay.
Like, it is well written, it's comprehensive, and you even, bookmark it for later.
Right. You actually save it.
Yeah, exactly. But if someone asked you like 5 minutes later who actually wrote it or, what company published it, you would just draw a complete blank.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have
Well,
absolutely no idea. And that invisible, entirely forgettable experience is pretty much the reality for the vast majority of content on the internet right now.
it really is.
So today for our deep dive, we're looking at a stack of sources centered around this massive guide. It's called How to Build a Brand Customers Remember in a World Full of AI-Generated Content.
Which is quite a title.
It is, yeah, and it includes this strategic framework from Socially Buzz.
Right.
So our mission today is to figure out, how to stop being the brand that people read and just immediately forget. Because, well, the data we have in front of us suggests there is this massive crisis of anonymity.
Yeah, it really is a crisis of brand identity. And it is being driven by just unprecedented efficiency.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So the HubSpot 2026 data marketing research, they surveyed over 1,500 global marketers, right?
Okay.
And the usage numbers are just staggering. We are looking at 86.4% of marketing teams using AI in some capacity.
Wait, 86%?
86.4, yeah,
That is almost everybody.
pretty much. And about 4 in 5 are using it specifically for content creation. So the sheer volume of material being generated is just astronomical.
So that means if you are just, casually scrolling through your feed or reading emails or looking at search results, the vast majority of what you are consuming has been touched, if not entirely written by a machine.
Exactly. And that actually leads to a very interesting tension in that same HubSpot data.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because despite having access to this, incredible volume producing tool, 62.7% of those exact same marketers believe brands actually need more unique human-centered content to compete.
Wait, really?
Yes.
So they are using the tool to produce more and more material while simultaneously realizing that producing more is no longer the solution to their core problem.
Exactly. They know the treadmill is moving too fast, but they don't know how to step off without falling behind.
Wow, yeah. And the guide we are looking at today, they actually call this phenomenon content sameness.
Content sameness.
Yeah.
It is a very specific vibe.
It really is. It's like the wording is polished, the grammar is completely flawless, the design is, acceptable.
Sure.
But the end result is emotionally anonymous. You see similar hooks, the same bulleted lists of tips, the exact same stock style visual.
Oh, the visuals, yeah.
Right. And that highly recognizable, slightly overly enthusiastic, motivational tone.
Which, creates a fascinating psychological effect on the consumer.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, the human brain is incredibly efficient at pattern recognition. So when we see the same grammatical structures, the same predictable cadences, and the same visual layouts over and over, our brains just categorize it as background noise.
Just tunes it out.
Exactly. It is a process called habituation. You stop processing the details because your brain assumes there is no new or vital information to extract.
Okay, so it's kind of like walking into a massive buffet filled with perfectly cloned, completely flavorless vanilla cupcakes.
That is a great analogy.
Like, they technically look like cupcakes. The frosting is perfectly piped.
Right.
But when you eat one, it just tastes like sweet air.
Yeah.
And the crucial part of that experience isn't just that the cupcake was boring. It's that you have no desire to figure out who baked it.
No, of course not.
And you certainly aren't going to seek out that specific bakery ever again. Like, you can get a flavorless cupcake anywhere.
That perfectly captures the danger of habituation. And, the platforms where these metaphorical cupcakes are being distributed, they're actively rebelling against it.
The platforms themselves?
Yes. This isn't just a philosophical debate for marketers anymore. It has become an algorithmic reality.
Wow.
Yeah. Meta actually rolled out an update in March 2026 explicitly stating that Facebook would prioritize original content in the feed and Reels.
Okay.
And they are actively reducing the reach of duplicative or minimally edited material.
No kidding.
And the results were immediate. Meta noted that views and time spent on original Facebook Reels approximately doubled in the second half of 2025 compared to the same period in 2024.
Wait, I want to pause on that because I think people assume platforms just want, more content, just an endless feed to keep people on the app.
Right.
But you are saying the algorithm is actively hunting for the human element and burying the generic stuff.
Yes, it
How
is.
does an algorithm even know the difference?
Well, it comes down to predictability.
Hmm.
Large language models, which, power most of these AI writing tools,
Mm.
they basically function by predicting the most statistically probable next word.
Right.
So when you use them to write a post, the resulting text has a very narrow, highly predictable vocabulary curve.
Oh, I see.
Humans, on the other hand, write weirdly.
We do.
We do. We use unexpected analogies, we structure sentences inconsistently, and we introduce concepts that don't statistically belong together.
Like vanilla cupcakes and AI marketing.
Exactly. And algorithms can detect that semantic predictability. Google's doing the exact same thing right now, actually, cracking down on what they call scaled content abuse.
Scaled content abuse, which is when someone just, spins up 100 generic articles on a topic to try and game the search results.
Right. Google is looking for what SEO experts call information gain.
Information game, what is that exactly?
Well, if an article just summarizes facts that already exist in Google's database, it offers zero information gain. The algorithm is looking for first-hand experience, unique entity connections, and novel insights that it hasn't mapped before.
So if the algorithms are actively filtering out predictable patterns and human brains are subconsciously ignoring them, we clearly need a completely different approach.
We absolutely do.
We can't just fix a brand by, changing the color palette. We have to start with the internal mechanics of what makes the brand unique. And the source material points to point of view, or POV, and voice.
Yeah, a point of view is the absolute bedrock. It is a distinct perspective that a business consistently brings to the problems its customers face.
Okay.
It dictates the angle of every piece of content
Wow.
before a single word is even written.
Okay, but I'm looking at this point of view step in the guide, and honestly, it just sounds a little like corporate speak for a mission statement.
A lot of people think that, yeah.
Right, like why would a customer care what a company fundamentally believes if they just want to, buy a product or hire them for a service?
Well, customers don't care about your beliefs in a vacuum.
Yeah.
You are entirely right about that.
Yeah.
But they care because those beliefs dictate the actual practical advice you give and the approach you take to solving their problem.
Oh, okay, I see.
The guide uses a really brilliant example of a virtual administration company to highlight this difference.
The back office support company.
Yes, exactly. So one virtual admin company might have a standard mission statement like, we provide affordable, efficient admin services for small businesses.
Which sounds very standard.
Right. But that is not a POV. That is just a utility description.
Yeah.
The content generated from that will be generic, like 5 reasons you need a virtual assistant.
Well, you're very forgettable.
Exactly. But a second company might have a true POV stating, we believe small business owners shouldn't have to sacrifice evenings with their families just to keep their back office running.
Oh, wow. That immediately changes the stakes.
It changes everything. It changes what they notice in their industry, what they talk about in their marketing, and how they measure success.
Yeah, I feel that.
So their content isn't top 5 admin tips. Their content becomes, here is exactly how to structure your inbox so you can confidently log off at 5 p.m. on a Friday.
That is so much more compelling.
Right. The belief is the engine that drives the tangible value. It gives the algorithm novel information, and it gives the human reader a specific philosophy to latch onto.
That makes total sense. So once that belief is established, the brand needs a personality to deliver it.
Yes, the voice.
The guide points out that this is where the actual prompt engineering usually falls apart. Like people go into an AI tool and use the most common prompt imaginable. They just type, make this sound professional.
Oh, it is the worst prompt.
Which basically instructs the machine to strip away all the nuance, all the sharp edges, and just leave you with a corporate robot.
Exactly. Professional is a trap. A professional brand can still be warm, it can be highly opinionated, or it can be dryly humorous.
Right.
The guide actually suggests replacing generic traits like friendly or helpful with highly specific bounded guardrails.
Founding guardrails. Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, instead of telling your writers or your AI to be friendly, your voice guideline should be conversational without forcing jokes or using internet slang.
I like that.
Or instead of professional, the prompt should be clear and authoritative without sounding clinical.
So you are giving the voice an actual boundary to bounce off of. But you can't just invent a personality out of thin air in a boardroom, right? Like, where does a business actually find those specific voice guardrails?
So the best brand language is always mind, never invented.
Mind, like digging for it.
Exactly. The vocabulary you need is already sitting right there inside the business. The technique is to go into the transcripts of real sales calls or look at the exact phrasing customers use in support emails when they describe their frustrations.
So you're looking for their actual words.
Yes, you don't just listen to the calls. You look for the specific visceral adjectives a stressed customer uses at the 5-minute mark of a discovery call.
Right.
If they say they're feeling buried in paperwork, you don't let the AI change that to experiencing operational inefficiency.
Because that ruins it.
Completely.
Yeah.
You use the word buried.
I love that. And that transitions perfectly into the external execution. Because having a distinct internal point of view and a highly specific voice is great. But if the brand doesn't look and act unique out in the real world, that voice is going to get lost in the feed anyway.
It absolutely will.
So the guide moves from internal identity to external assets, and it specifically highlights the Ehrenberg Bass Institute's research.
Yes, the Ehrenberg Bass Institute.
Ugh.
They are a major authority on marketing science, and their research focuses heavily on the mechanics of memory.
The mechanics of memory.
Right. They emphasize the critical importance of protecting distinctive, non-brand name assets over a long period.
So not just the logo.
Exactly. We are talking about specific hex codes for colors, typography spacing, illustration styles, and recurring visual layouts.
Okay.
Their research shows that building memory structures in a consumer's mind requires consistency. You have to fiercely protect these assets rather than constantly changing your look to chase whatever short-lived design trend is popular on Instagram this month.
You know, it makes me think of a recognizable superhero silhouette.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like even if Batman is just a shadow cast against a brick wall without any facial features or logos, you know exactly who it is based purely on the shape of the cowl and the cape. Brands need that exact same distinct silhouette in their content.
That is a very accurate way to conceptualize it. And it leads to a very practical audit mentioned in the text, which they call the hide the logo test.
The hide the logo test. How does a brand actually conduct that test in practice?
Well, you pull up your last 5 pieces of published content on a screen. So maybe an email newsletter, an Instagram carousel, a blog header.
Okay.
You physically cover up the logo and the company name. Now you look at the remaining elements. Is the color palette distinct? Is the font weight recognizable? Is the way you crop your images specific to you?
Right.
If an existing customer looked at that material without the logo, would they suspect it came from you? If the answer is no, you were just adding to the visual noise. You might be making pretty content, but you are not building long-term brand memory.
Wow, that is such a powerful test. And the idea of building memory, it applies to the substance of the content just as much as the visuals, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The text draws a massive line in the sand between recycled overviews and original insights, which makes sense based on what we discussed about algorithms looking for information gain.
Exactly.
Because if an AI is historically great at summarizing information that already exists, then basic summaries are now commodities with the value of pretty much zero.
Precisely. To stand out, you have to contribute something beyond the recycled overview.
Right.
The text actually contrasts a generic article titled 5 Ways to Improve Customer Service with a highly specific piece titled The 3 Customer Complaints We Kept Hearing and the Process We Changed Because of Them.
The difference in emotional resonance there is just night and day.
And it is huge.
Like 5 ways to improve feels like homework. An AI can scrape the web and write that in 4 seconds.
Literally 4 seconds.
But that second title, The 3 Complaints We Kept Hearing and the Process We Changed, that immediately signals a pulse.
Yes.
It requires vulnerability. It implies that a real human lived through an uncomfortable experience, admitted a flaw, and learned something from it.
And that vulnerability builds trust because it cannot be mathematically faked by a language model.
That is such a good point.
It proves the business is operating in the physical world. And you build on that trust by how you tell customer stories, too. Generic testimonials like, great service, highly recommended, are practically useless in this landscape.
Right, because a machine can generate 1,000 of those in a minute.
Exactly.
So what does a truly human-centric customer story look like?
It requires the messy before state. A real story details the specific problem or hesitation the customer had before they bought the product.
Okay.
What did the business actually notice about their struggle? How did they tailor the approach? And crucially, it incorporates real, uncorporate customer quotes used with permission.
Uncorporate quotes.
Right. You have to resist the urge to polish the quote until it sounds like marketing copy. You need to leave the natural speech patterns and the specific unpolished details completely intact.
Okay, so we have clearly established that humans must own the soul, the look, and the lived experience of the brand.
Mm.
But the framework isn't suggesting we just throw our AI tools in the trash, right? We need to
Mhm.
define exactly where AI fits into this workflow without letting it, take the steering wheel.
Ignoring AI would be a massive strategic mistake.
Okay.
The HubSpot data actually confirms this, showing that 73.4% of marketers view AI as working alongside them, not replacing them.
Working alongside them.
Right. It is a highly capable sidekick.
Yeah.
And the dividing line in the framework is actually quite clear.
So what is the specific division of labor then? Like, what does the sidekick do and what does the human hero do?
Well, AI handles the heavy lifting of organization and variation.
Organization and variation.
Right. It can summarize your approved human-written source material. It generates alternative structures for a blog post outline.
Okay, that saves time.
It does. It takes one original insight you developed and turns it into channel-specific drafts.
Yeah.
Adjusting the link for LinkedIn versus an email newsletter.
Yeah.
It can process a giant spreadsheet of customer feedback and identify recurring themes. It basically does the operational grunt work.
But the humans own the core identity.
Yes. Humans must own the point of view. Humans handle the ethical decisions and the cultural nuance.
That makes sense.
And humans are responsible for humor, which AI struggles with because humor relies on breaking predictable patterns.
Oh, that is so true. AI jokes are terrible.
They are the worst. And most importantly, humans handle the final factual verification.
Verification.
The text outlines strict rules here. Never publish unverified statistics, never publish customer quotes that the AI altered to sound better, and never publish generic thought leadership that lacks clear, real-world experience.
Because breaking that trust is catastrophic. Like, if a customer realizes they're reading a hallucinated statistic or a totally fake testimonial, it is incredibly difficult to win that credibility back.
It is almost impossible.
So, to prevent that, the guide from Socially Buzz outlines a repeatable brand memory system.
Yes. Think of brand memory as an engine with 6 connected parts. We've explored the individual pieces, but seeing them operate together is the key to escaping content sameness.
Okay, let's hear them.
1, the point of view, which is the foundational belief. 2, voice, the specific guardrails for how you express that belief. 3, visual assets, the cues that pass the hide the logo test.
The Batman silhouette.
Exactly. 4, original evidence, the lived insights that offer algorithmic information gain. 5, customer stories, the unpolished proof. And 6, repetition.
Repetition. That is an interesting inclusion. Why is repetition considered a core part of the system rather than just, a distribution tactic?
Well, it taps into a psychological principle called the mere exposure effect.
Mere exposure effect.
Yes. People tend to develop a preference for things merely because they are familiar with them. But repetition in this context doesn't mean copying and pasting the exact same post across every platform.
Right, that would just be annoying.
Exactly. It means reinforcing the exact same identity while adapting the format. So a single original insight might start as a detailed analytical blog article.
Okay.
The next day, it becomes a short, punchy LinkedIn post. The next week, it's an Instagram carousel highlighting the visual assets. Then, it's a talking head video from the founder.
Oh, I see.
The format constantly changes to suit the platform, but the point of view and the visual silhouette remain undeniably consistent.
That is so smart. And Socially Buzz actually breaks this down into a very pragmatic 30-day plan to audit and fix generic branding.
They do.
Like, week 1 is strictly defining that foundation, so locking in the POV and the highly specific voice traits. Week 2 moves to the recognition system, codifying those visual rules for the logo test.
Right.
Week 3 is the mining phase, where you actually go talk to frontline staff and pull those real customer quotes. And week 4 is building the AI-assisted workflow, which means creating the actual prompts that contain your unique voice guidelines and setting up the human review checklists.
It is a very systematic way to transition a brand off the high-volume, low-impact content treadmill.
It really is. Now, let me ask a very practical question on behalf of, the small business owners listening.
Sure.
If someone is just trying to rank on Google and get some local traffic, doesn't the sheer volume of AI content just crush the little guy who takes the time to be original?
It's a common fear.
Right. Like, if a massive competitor can use AI to publish 100 technically perfect pages a day, and I'm only publishing 2 really insightful ones, don't I just get buried by the math?
Well, it is a valid concern, but the reality of modern search architecture is shifting rapidly.
Okay.
Google's generative AI search explicitly does not require you to adopt a special AI writing style. There's absolutely no benefit to rewriting your content to sound more like a machine.
Really?
Really, what the algorithm is aggressively prioritizing is a concept called EEA: experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
EA.
It is looking for that unique, compelling content with a genuine point of view and firsthand experience that we've been talking about.
So the originality isn't just a nice branding exercise, it is the actual shield against the high volume fluff.
Exactly. Now, search optimization mechanics still matter. You still need clear site structure, accurate titles, and a fast-loading website.
Sure.
But those elements are just the table stakes that allow the algorithm to crawl your site. Your original expertise is what gives the algorithm a reason to rank you,
Right.
and it gives the human a reason to remember you. You cannot beat a content machine by trying to be a faster machine.
Yeah.
You only win by being undeniably, irreplaceably human.
That is just, I mean, the core realization here is incredibly empowering.
It really is.
The brands that win the future of marketing won't be the ones that publish the most words per day. The winners will be the brands that offer a recognizable perspective, a deeply specific human voice, and real, messy, lived evidence. Use the AI for the heavy lifting, let it organize the transcripts, let it format the outlines, but keep human beings entirely responsible for the brand's soul.
That is the ultimate takeaway from all of this data. And the guide notes that if a brand is feeling lost in the noise, if they are failing the hide the logo test and their content feels like everyone else's, Socially Buzz offers a free consultation to help audit that digital presence and unearth those unique human elements.
Well, if you are exhausted by your own content, it is absolutely worth looking into.
Definitely. And, if we zoom out and look at the trajectory of this technology, it raises a fascinating question about where consumer psychology is heading.
Where is it heading?
Well, we are moving into a world where artificial intelligence will inevitably become exponentially better at perfectly mimicking warmth, perfectly mimicking empathy, and perfectly mimicking professionalism.
Yeah, I mean, the language models are getting smoother and more convincing every single week.
They really are. So as grammatical perfection and synthetic empathy become cheap, abundant, and instantly generated, it leaves us with something profound to ponder.
Okay, lay it on us.
Will the ultimate luxury brand of the future be defined entirely by its willingness to showcase raw, unpolished human flaws and genuine mistakes?
Wow, a perfect imperfection.
Exactly.
That is definitely something to think about next time you go to hit publish. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.